What is going on, everyone? Anthony Drew Gary here, host of the How To Show, where we talk about optimizing life, money, and happiness one how-to at a time. And we're going to have a little video inside a video here. I've got my basketball coach shirt on now. Had our first playoff game of the season this year tonight, and we did come out victorious. Highly recommend, if you've got some capacity in your life, go and find a way to volunteer in your community. I started coaching youth basketball a number of years ago, and it is as rewarding as anything I'm doing in my professional life. Highly recommend it. Check out if there's an opportunity for you to get involved in that way. And so that's the first half of this episode. But the real meat and potatoes of this episode is talking about something that I feel like is really, really complicated for no good reason. And we're going to talk about how to simplify it, because there's a website out there that can really make this easy for you. It's really two websites. You have to grab some information from one, put it into the other. Easy stuff. I'll share the links. I'll show you how to do it. And it'll show you how much Social Security you can potentially plan on if you retire one day. And so what we're going to do is we're going to set this up by sharing a website with us. And so if I do this, this is ssa.tools, Tools. And somebody made this. Highly recommend you check this out. And it's basically the way to understand Social Security. Get started for free. In fact, everything on this website is free. So we click the button here. And what you have to do to use the calculator is you have to copy in your earnings. And the way to do this is to go to the Social Security website and sign in and get your earnings statement. And I'm not going to use my exact earnings statement or anything like that. So I made one up. But what you would do is you get on ssa.gov, click into your earnings statement so that you can use actual data for your situation. And for the sake of this, I made up a phony one real quick for somebody that started working basically 34 years ago, started making a little bit money, progressed every year throughout their career. And so their taxed earnings grew from, $1,000 to 160 over the course of their working career. This is exactly how the website will show up on the SSA. And all you do is you click all of this and you wait for your mouse to start working again. There you go. You click all this and you grab it and you copy it. You would do the exact same thing if you were on the SSA website. And you come into this empty box, you paste that information, and it automatically does this for you. It compiles that the same way that it looked like on the SSA website. And so it asks you if this is correct. You click the yes box, and then it asks you your birthday. And so for this example, I need to fudge a birthday based on somebody that started working in 1990. So let's say that person was born in 1972. That would make them 18 years old when they started working. So if I come back over here, we'll say this person was born 2/7 when this video is coming out of 1972. So keep going. You can enter spouse's data as well. It'll factor it into the conversation. For simplicity's sake, we'll say no to that right now. And it will then start to ask you a series of questions that will start to inform what you can potentially expect from a Social Security standpoint. And here it is that the first slider that it gives you is, I plan to work for how many more years? And so we set this up so that somebody was working for 34 years actually. And so we'll go ahead and slide that all the way over to 0. And so based on that, you have earned 40 Social Security credits. You earn a credit, I believe, for every quarter of the year that you're working. And your average indexed monthly earnings would be $9,400. And that's for somebody that works that whole time. And your primary insurance amount is $3,240.70. This is the moneymaker right now. If you wait until age 67, as it's set up right now, you will receive $3,240 per month. And I feel like this is a really hard number to come by, because using the SSA website and maybe their calculators, it doesn't cut it out so clearly like this. And so I appreciate this. And I really appreciate if we keep scrolling down to the website, it starts to talk about normal retirement age, and normal retirement age is 67 years old. However, you can start pulling from Social Security, drawing from Social Security as early as 62. And so if you look at this, every month I'm sliding this little bar over. If I start pulling earlier than 67, it will start giving you less and less a month. And if you decide to delay until 67 in 1 month, 2 months, 3 months, all the way to year 70, they'll give you more per month. And this is a little game that you need to figure out between either you and your advisor or you and your spouse, how you want to structure this. Effectively, the numbers that you see here represent roughly 8% growth every year. And so if you leave things alone and you don't pull from 67, you start pulling at 68, you'll get roughly 8% on your money. And if you go from 67 and you start to pull at 66, you'll take an 8% haircut effectively. And so this is important to think about this in two different ways. Is number one, do you need this money to live on between the ages of 62 and 67? That'll start to inform your discussion about this. But what is interesting about this is, let's paint a picture here for a minute where the number at age 67 is $3,240 a month. If you start pulling it at 62, it's only $2,281 a month. But if this is basically a use it or lose it sort of scenario, if you start pulling at age 62, they're going to start paying you $2,200 a month. And you can keep that, you can invest that, you can do whatever you want with it. But realistically, if you are of the mindset that you're not going to start pulling from it now, and you're not even going to start pulling from it at 67, you're going to wait until you start pulling from it at 70. God forbid, if you pass away at 68 or 69, they will have paid you nothing. And you can't pass on to your loved ones, or whatever that circumstance looks like, something that you do not have in your possession. And so there's really two camps that you need to think about when you're starting to play with this little slider here. Is, do I need that money now? And is having it now in my possession a better outcome in some way, shape, or form than letting that money be worth a bigger payment later and allowing the government to control it, knowing that if something happens to me, the outcome will realistically be that you won't get any of it? And there are some specific rules, and as it relates to married couples and spousal benefits and things of that nature, that are best left to a professional to have those conversations with. But I really just wanted to show you this website, ssa.tools. It can start to piece together what it might look like for your Social Security situation. And, you know, I'm 34 years old as I make this video, and the joke for my entire life has been that Social Security won't be around when it's time for me to retire. That joke has been live in my influence spheres. People have been telling me that for almost 30 years now. Realistically, they started making those jokes in middle school or whatever. And so I would have a hard time seeing a group of politicians who are going to run on the fact that we're going to take Social Security away from people. I'm not saying it can't happen. I'm just thinking that that's probably not a popular ticket to attach yourself to. And so realistically, I would expect that some version of something similar to this will be around for me and potentially for my children. The dates that you see here, 62 to 70, they may fluctuate a little bit, but the general idea is here. And so I recommend that you check this website out. Again, figure out what your earning statements are. You can get that information, get yourself an account set up at the SSA website so that you can draw that information in here. And the cool thing about this website is, if I didn't make it abundantly clear, if you go back one page, you're not directly giving them any of your personal data. You're giving them a 3 by however many years chart of earnings. And so it's not tied to you in any way. There's no way to track this back down to me. And I didn't use my personal earnings anyway, so it doesn't really matter. So check this website out. Hopefully it will be of a benefit to you. That's going to wrap up this episode of the show. Again, hopefully you got some value out of this. Check out the notes in the video description to get to the links to both of the websites that I mentioned. And if you've got an opportunity, again, to volunteer in your local community in a sports capacity or any other capacity, highly recommend you check that out. As always, if you are looking to transact real estate in the Indianapolis market, you can get in touch with me either in the comments or at indydwell.com. Happy to talk with you there, help you out if I can. If you got any feedback for the show or any comments, anything you want to talk about, leave me a comment down below. I respond to each and every one of those. We'll continue to do that. And you can subscribe to the channel to be the first to know about new content each and every Wednesday. Until next time, this is Anthony Drew Gary, host of The How To Show, signing off.